Suddenly, a hand grabbed his arm. Zhao Taiyan hurriedly urged, "Come on, quickly, follow me down the mountain." While pulling him along, he anxiously said, "I will rush you back to Martial Saint University No. 7 to meet the Martial Saint. This time you've gone too far. Lion Qiabai is not just an ordinary master. That guy is." Lu Sheng calmly replied, "I know, he is Martial Saint's brother-in-law." Stopping abruptly, Zhao Taiyan panicked and scolded. "You knew and still dared to act. Right now, apart from Tan martial artist, no one can protect you." Lu Sheng, shaking his wrist, responded, "Thank you, Professor Zhao, but I don't need it this time." Zhao Taiyan was extremely annoyed with this stubborn student and lectured him. "Are you crazy? Even if you're not scared, what about your family? What about your friends? Lu Sheng, you are still young. There are some things you can't act on impulse. Otherwise, you might regret it later. Hurry up, or by the time your family hears about this, it will be too late." As he spoke, he quickly turned to leave, but Lu Sheng stood there silently. He then spoke. "That's right, if your family hears the news, it will be too late. So, Professor, I can't follow you." Zhao Taiyan panicked and realized, "Lu Sheng, are you?" Then he sighed helplessly and said, "All right, I understand. I'll wait for you in the capital. Do you need me to escort you part of the way?" As Lu Sheng walked past, he replied, "No need." Looking down the long staircase, Lu Sheng smiled and said, "Let's see." Then he dashed down at incredible speed. Zhao Taiyan looked on in shock. Lu Sheng, what level has he reached? At the high-speed train station, Lu Sheng's family was extremely worried. His mother kept asking, "How much longer?" His father, checking the time, replied, "It's still half an hour. That's the earliest train." King was equally anxious. She had just seen a live broadcast where her brother wanted to challenge a grandmaster, and then it cut off, leaving her in suspense. Maud is so worried she's almost in tears. Can it go any faster? There are no earlier trains. "Style Shang, what if something happens? What should I do?" His father turned to King in panic. "King, please reassure your mother. I believe our son will be fine." She was startled. "Me?" Inside, she felt just as anxious. "What should I do? My brother wants to fight a grandmaster, and that grandmaster is level 7. The provincial director, He Pingnan, who came to our house last time, was also a grandmaster." She kept imagining her brother's situation in a state of panic, but still tried to calm her mother. "Mom, don't worry too much, my brother." Before she could finish her sentence, King's phone suddenly rang. Answering the phone, she looked extremely tense. "Older brother? What did older brother just say?" After a moment, her expression relaxed. "Oh, I see. All right." Her parents, who were very worried, asked, "Did Xiao Sheng call? What happened?" Lu King pointed at the phone and said, "It's fine." He said that the signal on the mountain was unstable and the live broadcast on TV was interrupted. Just now he challenged the master. It was all part of the competition script. The competition arranged it. Her younger sister said that she had already put herself at a disadvantage. Why would she provoke the master like that? At this point, their mother managed to ease her worry and said, "Oh, I see." Then she took the phone and spoke for quite a while. "Who can tease others as well as you do? You don't know how worried your parents are." "What? You're about to go on stage to receive an award? Then we won't bother you anymore. You need to come home in 2 days so I can see you. Remember to apologize to the master, all right? Even if it's just a setup, it's still something harsh to say. Hello." After a moment of silence, Mother pointed at the phone and said, "This kid hung up the phone just like that." Father affectionately scolded, "You talk too much. Xiao Sheng will be fine." Lu King still felt a bit doubtful. "It's strange. That competition is very upright. I haven't heard anything about it being staged. It's really odd." "Well, let it be then." Once they finished, the three of them happily headed home. Once back, they would need to drink a few cups to ease their fear. "Ha! Then remember to return the ticket. The handling fee is not small. It's enough to buy some snacks for him. Why hesitate so much? Being safe and sound is already great." They did not know that in a dark corner, someone was watching them. The person wore a hat, observing while on the phone. They are on their way home. Remember to keep following them. "You're being too polite. If we take the money, of course, we'll handle this appropriately. If you keep talking, this matter will slip away right now." "All right, sir, you go take care of your business." After finishing the conversation, the person checked Lu Sheng's information. "Master Lion Qibai of Great Religion Dodo has died. The one who made the move was Lu Sheng, a student of Martial Saint University No. 7. He couldn't help but sigh. Truly unpredictable. At just 19 years old, he has killed a master. On the other side, Lu Sheng was looking at his phone and muttering. With Teacher Zhao and Teacher Du assisting, their safety should not be a problem. A moment later, he appeared in front of a technician's shop. In his mind, he recalled when Zhao Taiyan asked, "Do you know who Lion Qianbai's sister, Lian Su, is? Aren't you afraid the Lion family will seek revenge?" Lu Sheng stepped in while saying, I'm scared, I'm really scared, but I'm even more terrified of losing everything I've just gained. But there are some things that cannot be done without fear. I'm even more afraid of my life after this, always having to endure their resentful gazes. Lu Sheng's eyes brightened again. At that moment, Lu Sheng walked in front of the entertainment club, the peak of heavenly prosperity, room number 8. He immediately used his perception to cover the surroundings. Looking inside the entertainment club, the peak of heavenly prosperity, room number 8, he saw several figures sitting inside. At this time, Lion Yi was sitting at the head, pulling at his hair and exclaiming, "My father is dead." The bodyguard beside him was alarmed. "What? Who killed Master Lion?" Lian Yi gritted his teeth, not speaking but urging me to hurry back. "So what are we waiting for? Let's go quickly." Then a hand reached for the doorknob. As he opened the door, Lian Yi saw the person outside and asked in surprise, "Who are you?" Lu Sheng, with bright eyes, said, "Hello, Lian Yi. Lian Kai Bai, your father wants to see you. Let me take you to meet him." At this moment, on the outskirts of Kyoto, at Hing Villa, it was a mansion located among the mountains. A glass of wine was shaken by someone who asked, "Did you say my older brother Lion Ki Bai is dead?" A woman dressed in red with a severe expression called Lion Ki Bai her brother, so she must be his younger sister named Lian Su. The bodyguard knelt down, bowed his head, and replied, "Master Lion led the team to participate in the National Student Martial Arts Tournament. After it ended, someone challenged. Master Lion was killed on the spot by Lu Sheng from Martial Sake number 7, dying in a gruesome manner. Lian Su stood up in a frenzy and refuted, 'Impossible, absolutely impossible. With my brother's soft yet firm character, how could he accept a challenge from another master? Do you think I'm foolish?' The bodyguard was extremely frightened. Lu Sheng had killed Master Lion, and he was a 6th level martial artist. When Lian Su heard this, the cup in her hand was crushed. She exuded a murderous aura, frowning and asking, 'What? 6th level? Are you joking? Is this funny?' The bodyguard immediately knelt down, hurriedly explaining, 'Madam, please calm down and let me finish.' After Lu Sheng made his move, he suddenly broke through to the 6th level and became a master. So that's why. Lian Su then laughed maniacally, throwing the wine glass away while marveling. 'Ha ha ha. I told you, a 6th level martial artist.' Then she knelt down, tears in her eyes, laughing and covering her face, asking herself, 'How can my brother be killed by a 6th level martial artist? Turns out he is an exceptionally talented martial artist. Ha ha ha.' Then Lian Su regained her composure. 'If that's the case, then please take a trip. Kill him.' Her eyes revealed a clear ruthlessness. The bodyguard became increasingly panicked. 'No, ma'am. Master Lion was killed during an official challenge. This is the rule of martial arts. You cannot harbor any resentment towards him.' Lian Su then grabbed his shirt and frantically questioned, 'What about my brother? Are you really going to let my brother die unjustly? Do you want to die like that?' After that, she took out her phone, laughing maniacally. 'He's already dead.' 'Ha ha ha. Good, very good. You won't help me, huh? Fine, then don't blame me.' At this moment, Lian Su's face was extremely distorted and frightening. Outside the school, the children were happily finishing their classes. Fu Jianming stood nearby, watching the kids laugh and play. Suddenly, he was dazed, staring in one direction. A little girl was laughing happily, and he saw the image of his daughter. Unexpectedly, the girl opened her eyes and noticed his gaze. The children panicked. 'Ah, it's that crazy old man. Let's get out of here. Be careful. He might go mad and catch us.' At that moment, Fu Jianming bent down to pick up some recyclables from the trash. Suddenly, the children bumped into someone. Lu Sheng smiled warmly and then approached Fu Jianming, saying, 'Fu Jianming, I'm here to collect the money from you.' He threw the bag at the old man's feet and said, 'I brought the item you needed. Take a look and see if it's right.' 'Ah, that's correct. They said you cannot insult a master, even in death. The body cannot be hacked into pieces like pork.' The old man was stunned, sitting down and reaching for the bag. Fu Jianming pulled the zipper open, and the light gradually revealed its contents. Lu Sheng continued, 'So there's no other choice. I could only bring Lian Yi's head.' At the same time, Fu Jianming had also seen someone's head in the bag. Then Lu Sheng presented a family photo of 4 people. 'Here, take this.' Compared to the head, Fu Jianming was even more astonished. Upon seeing the photo, he reached out with both hands to accept it, tears brimming in his eyes, and then he held the photo close to his heart with great reverence. Fu Jianming's tears flowed down as he bowed to Lu Sheng and said, 'Thank you, thank you, thank you.' And he simply waved his hand without turning back. A moment later, he contacted Zhao Taiyan, deputy headmaster. 'I've finished the task.' At this time, Lu Sheng was standing on the rooftop, looking toward the sun. Zhao Taiyan on the other end said, Then hurry back. I've informed the great martial saint Tan martial artist will officially accept you into the school, and he has agreed to bear all the pressure from the great religion dojo on your behalf. You just need to. Lu Sheng said quietly, Vice Principal, I won't go back anymore. Lu Sheng, what do you mean? Zhao Taiyan was astonished. Lu Sheng continued, You must be in your office, right? I remember your office has a very large floor-to-ceiling window. Through the window, you should be able to see that thing. Zhao Taiyan turned back to look, and reflected in his glasses was High Tower. He frowned. Lu Sheng went on, Vice Principal, do you know what I will want to do after I become a martial saint? One day, when I become a martial saint, I will break High Tower and make the world praise my real name. Zhao Taiyan picked up the phone, sweating profusely, and asked, Great martial saint, about this. The martial saint replied, If he has disagreed, then let it be. Then he stroked his beard and said, You don't need to feel regret. He has his own path he wants to take. It's just different from the path we chose. Although the thoughts were somewhat childish and ridiculous, it had been a long time since I had met a martial arts junior as interesting as him. Ha ha! Looking out the window, he sighed. At this moment, Zhao Taiyan placed a hand on his chest, bowed his head, implying support for Lu Sheng. Sir, after all, Lu Sheng provoked the lion family of the great religion dojo for us. With Lion Su's personality, I'm afraid she won't let it go easily. The great martial saint then said, If it is Lu Sheng's own choice, he must be fully aware of the consequences and bear them himself. But what you said makes sense. Let's have Hua Yu protect his family. Perhaps she can safeguard Lu Sheng's family of 3. As for other matters, there's no need for more words. After the reminder, the great martial saint stepped outside. Zhao Taiyan was still bowing his head, thinking to himself, Breaking the High Tower. Lu Sheng, I'm afraid I can only help you this far. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng was still gazing up at the High Tower and said, The consequence of rejecting the great martial saint. Initially, I didn't even choose to refuse the goodwill of Governor He Pingnan. Now I'm rejecting the great martial saint Tan Yu, who is far superior to He Pingnan in every way. It truly requires some courage. After all, under the great martial saint, I can only become the second martial artist. What I want is to surpass martial artists and possess the absolute strength to level everything. When that time comes, he raised his hand, I will truly reverse the world. His hand pointed towards the sun above the High Tower. At that moment, it was night in the house, and a shadow was looking outside. It was a woman named Lian Su, dressed in delicate clothing, silently gazing through the window. Zhao Ji then walked in and asked, Have you sent Zhuang Ge yet? She turned back and replied nonchalantly, That scum has killed 2 people from the Lion family. Her eyes became frenzied. Lion Tagbai is just a useless master. His death doesn't matter, but Lion Yi is the last descendant of this lineage. Zhao Ji calmly said, Lion Yi still has a few illegitimate children. You must know that better than I do. She immediately retorted, So what? Is there someone who wants to exterminate the Lion family? Why can't I send Zhuang Gu to kill that person? Lian Su became increasingly agitated. One was her brother, and the other was her nephew. No matter how estranged they were still her blood relatives. As a woman, all she wanted was to take revenge for them. They died without even a complete corpse, which was very tragic. Zhao Ji replied, It's not that I mean to blame you. Zhuang Gu, although not weak, was still somewhat lacking and might not be able to accomplish this task. Upon hearing this, Lian Su anxiously asked, Is that monster really that powerful? Zhao Ji explained he is the person that Tan Yu chose, and he will definitely send people to protect him. As long as they casually send someone, especially Lu Sheng, Zhuang Gai will be helpless. Suddenly, she placed her hand on Zhao Ji's shoulder. Lian Su approached Zhao Ji in a playful manner. Then can you send a few more people to rank even higher? He tightened his grip around her waist and said, No need. I have already sent 12 shadows along with Zhuang Gai. With them there, you will definitely achieve the results you want. She softly looked up at him and said, So that means you still care about me. Then she leaned closer to Zhao Ji. Unexpectedly, Zhao Ji pushed her away and said, Of course I will help you. But that time you took the liberty to pass the great religion's secret techniques to Zhuang Gai. Lian Su explained, So what? Without that method, how could I invite the master of the great religion dodo to work for me? Besides that, you haven't offered me anything else. He coldly replied, I don't want this to happen again. At that moment, she sat down on the ground as if she had gone mad. Hoo hoo hoo, ha ha ha. The savage laughter could be heard from outside the house. Ha ha ha. Cut to the next day at Sandview Airport. At this time, a girl wearing sunglasses and headphones was dressed in a very stylish manner. She was pulling a suitcase while talking on the phone. I just finished my mission. Is it really that urgent? This girl's name is Manhwa Yu, who came to protect the Lu Sheng family. What? Not even 19 years old and has killed a master. Impressive. This person is even more formidable than Sing Yutong back then. Our Mengyu Dodo is about to have another talented general. Panghua Yu was browsing information on her phone while exclaiming. Hearing the person on the other end of the line, she was startled. Ha! Refusing Marshal St. Tanzhong Yu and killing members of the Lion family and then arrogantly demanding to face them alone. This is insane, so why should I even go over there? The person on the other end responded, the benevolent Marshal Saint, although unable to take you as an apprentice, doesn't want to see such a good seed wasted. Your opponent is Zhuang Yui of the Great Religion Dogo. He is also very strong, so be sure to seize this opportunity. She replied, it's not like he specializes in anything compared to me. All right, I understand. At this moment in the Lu family, it was dark outside and the lights were brightly lit. Lu Sheng pushed the door open and said loudly, I'm back. Everyone looked out in surprise. Lu Kinney happily approached and said, Brother, you're finally home. Mom and Dad were about to go crazy worrying. Although the mother was happy inside, she pretended to be annoyed and asked, Didn't you say you'd arrive in an hour? It's already dark. The father then stepped in to support, Honey, why say so much? As long as our son is home safe, that's what matters. Then he turned to remind his son, Come over here and drink a few cups with Dad. Lu Sheng happily replied, Yes, I'll come right away. After that, he tossed his full backpack to Lu King and said, Take this. She frowned, I'm a girl, you know. He nonchalantly replied, So what? Are you going to take it or not? There are even presents for you in there. Lu King was happy to hear about the fruit. Ha ha, right then. Lu Sheng then rubbed his younger sister's head, so that means it's okay, right? Lu King turned around and ran away, saying, Finally, I understand why you can't find a girlfriend. Huh, with that attitude, it's no wonder you're single. After hearing that, Lu Sheng was left feeling confused. Their mother chimed in after this birthday, Xiao Sheng will be 19, so you should find a girlfriend. Otherwise, you'll just be fighting all day. He could only scratch his head and laugh. Oh, Mom, I'm only 19. It's still early. What are we having for dinner tonight? I'm so hungry. Ha ha. Suddenly, he sensed a presence outside, then went to the door saying, Mom, I have a friend coming over. I'll step outside for a bit. You all eat first. I'll be back soon. His mother reminded him, Today we're having braised pork and chicken wings. It will be ready in 15 minutes. You need to come back quickly, or the food will get cold. Lu Sheng's gaze sharpened as he replied, Yes, 15 minutes should be enough. A moment later, he stepped into the quiet garden and Lu Sheng said, You've worked hard, following me all this way. Behind a tree, there was the silhouette of someone. That person stepped out and clasped their hands in response. It's just part of the duty, really. You're being too polite. He was sweating profusely and silently lamenting. This kid had just killed a renowned master this morning, and it seemed that the blood on his hands was still not enough for him. Moreover, he gave him the feeling of encountering a high-level strange creature on the battlefield. Lu Sheng turned around happily and said, When you return, please convey my thanks to Master Du, telling him that I agree his matter and it will be implemented soon. The other person replied, That is certainly the case, and then disappeared into the air. At this moment, Lu King had also come out, waving and calling, Brother, why are you just standing outside? Hurry in and eat. As Lu Sheng walked, he activated his perception. His spiritual energy enveloped the area around him. Within 100 miles, there was no presence of any experts. It seemed they wouldn't be coming tonight. Seeing him dawdle, Lu King urged, Hurry up, brother. Come quickly. Before long, a week had passed. This time, Panghua Yu was sitting in a tea house. She was drinking and said, What's going on with the extremely enlightened star? It's been a week and he still hasn't shown up. If he doesn't come soon, I can't stay here forever. He should have arrived 4 or 5 days ago. Does an 8th level expert also have a habit of being slow? Then she looked out the window. At that moment, a man stepped out of the tea house. So long. This aura is that of a great master. Panghua Yu, who was drinking water, also noticed the car outside. Ah, she exclaimed in panic as she stood up. It's Zhuang Yui, followed by. At this moment, several figures were running behind. Panghua Yu hurriedly spoke into her earpiece. Oh no, there are shadows from the Great Religion Dodo. This is going to be troublesome. Although the strength of the 7th level shadow was forcibly raised by the Marshal Saint's secret technique, it still wasn't a master. She picked up her sword, but then ran away. Based on the battle tactics personally created by the Great Religion Marshal Saint, 24 shadows would have the opportunity to kill a great master, taking out one person first and then dealing with the rest. While speaking, she took her sword and rushed toward the shadows. Suddenly, static noise came from her earpiece. Panghua Yu exclaimed in surprise, What did you say? They dispatched 20 shadows. At this moment, she was surrounded by a new group of shadows. The car's brakes screeched and a foot stepped down from the vehicle. Zhuang Ge stepped down with a sinister smile, emitting a dark aura around him. Panghua Yu hurriedly slid back in panic, thinking to herself, Zhuang Ge. She lowered her head, glancing at him standing in front of Lu Sheng's house. Panghua Yu anxiously exclaimed, "Oh no," and from the other side asked, Hua Yu, what's wrong? Hua Yu replied, extremely enlightened star Zhuang Ge has entered the Grandmaster realm. Both of them fell silent. Zhuang Ge stood there emanating an imposing aura, adjusting his sleeve as he said to himself, I am the extremely enlightened star, one of the 28 constellations, following the great religion martial saint for 20 years, yet stuck at the 7th peak level, unable to break through the twin barriers of heaven and earth to elevate to the Grandmaster level. But now I have finally waited for this moment. Blood energy condensed, Zhuang Ge clasped his hands together, his expression like that of a devil grinning savagely. The invisible twin barriers of heaven and earth opened by him, radiating a dark power enveloping the surrounding space. Is this the feeling of entering the Grandmaster realm? He raised his hand to catch the light from the street lamp, as if he could grasp the glow, the beam of light transforming into a tangible object in his hand. At this moment, Zhuang Ge held that light like a weapon, his eyes blazing red with excitement as he shouted, This feeling is truly amazing. Ha ha ha. I must thank the person named Lu Sheng. If he hadn't angered the martial saint lady, I wouldn't have been able to obtain the martial saint's secret scripture. From that, I broke free from my shackles. The light in his hand had now transformed into a sword. He approached Lu Sheng's house with a sword in hand and proudly said, I heard that Lu Sheng is a young master. Even the Minyu Dogo has mobilized because of him. Such a good sprout, let me pick it myself. Suddenly, footsteps appeared, accompanied by a voice, Is that so? Lu Sheng had appeared under the streetlight, asking, Did the Lion family send you here? Zhuang Ge replied, Oh, the young genius has revealed himself. He then ordered his subordinates, You go to his house first. Remembering Madame Martial Saint explicitly wanted to see ahead, the two responded, Yes. Then the two shadows darted past Lu Sheng. Zhuang Ge swung his sword and shouted, Look over here, kid, your opponent is here. But as he got closer, Lu Sheng suddenly vanished, leaving him astonished. He disappeared. Lu Sheng had appeared in front of one of the shadows, a streak of light slicing through the air, and immediately the head of the shadow fell to the ground before Lu Sheng's hand that was raised. Then he stood among a group of shadows and disdainfully said, Is that weak? Besides having slightly higher ki and blood, your master stance is as flimsy as a piece of paper. You all call yourselves masters. At this moment, Zhuang Ge snapped his fingers, impressive. He showed a clear, arrogant expression and said, If we met in a different situation, perhaps I would choose to be your friend. Lu Sheng glared, exuding killing intent. No way, I have never made friends with the dead. Zhuang Ge smirked. Interesting, I didn't expect you to speak so arrogantly. You're just a small master who was just leveled up. He stepped forward, planted his sword down on a formation, and shouted, And a Grand Master of level 8 like me is a tall mountain. The trees cracked and broke under his pressure. Even the firmly nailed utility poles seemed to be uprooted. After that, everything flew up in his wake. After showing off for a while, Zhuang Ge arrogantly declared, I can't wait any longer. I want you to feel a bit of the power of a Grand Master of level 8. After watching the farce for a while, Lu Sheng coldly said, 1. His eyes widened with brilliance. Lu Sheng used his divine combat form and a powerful formation appeared. The shadows panicked. What is that? We can't move. Lu Sheng continued counting 2. The bodies of the shadows were sliced into many pieces by his sharp power. Watching those parts fall down caused Zhuang Ge to panic. What is this? The remaining shadows were all wiped out by him. Lu Sheng's eyes shone brightly as he continued to count 3. Instantly, a fierce beast appeared behind him, its mouth open as if to devour Zhuang Ge. He exclaimed in fear, What? What is this? Although his body was trembling, he still kept his mouth shut. Ha ha! Don't think you can scare me. I'm different from them. I'm an 8th level Grandmaster. Then his expression suddenly turned serious as he looked down in horror at the hand that had reached his chest. Lu Sheng moved closer to Zhuang Ge and coldly counted 4. He was truly terrified, wondering to himself how this could happen. After 20 years of waiting, he finally got to this day. With just a bit of effort, a large hole could be seen piercing through Zhuang Ge's body. He knelt down, not really. Watching his body gradually disappear, he wondered, Am I not a Grandmaster? Then his body also vanished into the air. Lu Sheng also questioned, This is a Grandmaster, but he felt it was no longer important and continued, But I am a deity. At that moment on the street, a mother and child were walking home hand in hand, the little girl humming, La 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 la. Suddenly, the girl saw something and gasped in surprise. She pointed towards Manhwa Yu and shouted, "Mom, look at that woman. She looks just like the fool in that TV show." Meanwhile, she was staring up in a daze. Her eyes became increasingly incredulous. Is this a dream? Something felt wrong in the sky. Moments later, Lu Sheng appeared, exuding a powerful aura. This was Lu Sheng. His bony, emaciated hand gradually disappeared into the air. Lu Sheng looked down and wondered. This is an 8th level Grandmaster. No, it feels too illusory. It's even not half as good as Jiang He. He speculates. It seems that the unconventional breakthrough method has employed some sort of coercive technique to elevate the body and mind. However, to be fair, I must have the ability to crush an ordinary 8th level Grandmaster by now. It's quite surprising. Lu Sheng looks at his hand with satisfaction. I didn't even use the Grandmaster's technique to break apart the void just now, and my spiritual power still needs thorough development. Previously, I truly wasted resources. Only when in the martial deity state did I realize how astonishing the manifestation of spiritual power could be. Then, he begins to activate his perception, sensing something. Manhua Yu has entered his line of sight. She seems to be here to help, right? There's something she can assist with. While Manhua Yu is in a daze, the worried voice on the other end of the earpiece calls out, "Hua Yu? Hua Yu? What are you doing? Can you hear me?" She is startled and replies, I am." The voice on the other end quickly asks, "Are you scared to death? Have you reached the target's house? What's the situation?" Hua Yu falls silent for a moment, then responds, "Very bad." The person on the other end hastily concludes, "Is that so? There's really no other way. Facing an 8th level Grandmaster is truly helpless. Be more optimistic. Return to help the Lu Sheng family with the burial properly." Manhua Yu quickly denied, "That's a misunderstanding. I meant to say." Lu Sheng, a member of the Great Religion Dogo, was in a dire situation. Within 3 breaths, Lu Sheng had eliminated Grandmaster Zhuang Guai and 12 shadows, leaving no one intact. The person on the other end of the line exclaimed in disbelief, "What?" Suddenly, Manhua Yu anxiously said, "Wait, it seems like Lu Sheng is saying something." Lu Sheng looked straight at her and pointed, saying, "Excuse me, could you please help clean the floor a bit?" The person on this side of the line was from the martial saint, who raised his head and asked, "Sir, did you hear that?" At this moment, the martial saint's expression was grim. Lu Sheng was becoming increasingly interesting. Quickly, 3 days passed. The sun was high in the sky. Lu Sheng was still thinking in his house. It had been 3 days since the Great Religion Dogo sent no one. Suddenly, his phone rang with a ping, and he picked up. "Hello." Vice Principal Zhao Taiyan on the other end said, "It's fine now." Tan the martial artist had clearly informed me that the matter with the Great Religion Dogo had been settled, and that they would no longer disturb you, at least according to the Great Religion Dodo. Lu Sheng on the other end asked in surprise. Tan the martial artist had stepped forward to negotiate. Zhao Taiyan replied, "I'm not sure, but according to my understanding of the Great Martial Saint, his ability to send someone from the Mingok Dogo to help you once must have reached its limit." "Finish," he reminded. "There's nothing else to do. Do you want to go to the General Association in Kyoto to confirm the identity of the master? Being a young master is an immense honor." Lu Sheng then said, "I'll talk about it when I come to get my diploma next time. If Vice Principal Zhao has anything to discuss, please contact me. I'm hanging up now." After ending the call, Lu Sheng, looking bewildered, realized that the woman before had not come to clean the house. Ha 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 ha, he puzzled himself again. But it doesn't make sense. According to the usual script, after a small fight, there should be a bigger one. After a big fight, there should be an even bigger one. The revenge from the Great Religion Dogo should be fierce. Suddenly, there was another phone call. Lu Sheng was shocked. "Leader Du." He hurriedly picked up the phone. "Hello, Leader Du. Oh, it turns out you have arranged this." On the other end, Yufei Yu replied, "This kid is impressive. Not yet 20 and's already killed so many masters, and Zhuang Guai, one of the 28 stars of Great Religion, was also defeated by him. I slapped you earlier. Don't hold a grudge against me." Lu Sheng was amazed at this quick grasp of information. How did the army find out so fast? He then laughed. "Ha ha ha, you scared the stalker so much, how could I not know? Killing an 8th level Grandmaster is really impressive." Lu Sheng briefly explained that person used some forbidden techniques to level up. Their actual strength is not considerable. This time, the military made the Great Religion Martial Saint compromise. It must have cost them quite a bit, right? Yufei He pressed his lips together in silence for a moment, then replied, "There is definitely a price, but it's not as large as you think, so don't feel pressured. There are many situations like yours that the military deals with every year. Lu Sheng, do you know? The 3 martial saint level experts currently in the Dragon Nation, none of them come from the military. Lu Sheng was silent for a while, then asked, "Do you understand what I mean?" Unexpectedly, he was met with a shocking response from Lu Sheng. "I understand. Don't worry. When I become a martial saint, I will definitely promote the military. Goodbye." After ending the call, he smiled, thinking it was an ideal conclusion, much better than he had imagined. After the Great Religion Dojo incident, I have completely been regarded as one of their own by the military. Through 100 battles in the Yellow Sands, piercing golden armor, without breaking Lulin, I shall not return. The military is truly the romantic place for men. Unexpectedly, he saw a roll of fabric on the floor. Oh, did Zhuang Gai use this forbidden technique? Then, he casually threw it into the trash can with disdain. Meaningless in the dream space, one can find hundreds and thousands of rubbish just by using their brain to search for flaws. After that, he closed his eyes. Well, it's been a while since he last came here. Lu Sheng entered the dream space again. As he walked past the zombies, he waved his hand and smiled, saying, "Today we won't fight. Everyone take a day off." Then he placed his hand on the stone, following the old rules to check his personal information. Immediately, the information panels appeared before him. Name, Lu Sheng, gender, male, lifespan, martial path 297 years 6 months to 657 years 2 months. Martial arts strength, Super Peep Martial Artist 9, extraordinary life experience, champion of the National Student Martial Arts Championship, killed Master Lion Qi Bai of Great Religion Dojo, defeated Grand Master Level B of Great Religion Dojo in an instant, joined the Eastern Military District in the same year, advanced to Grand Master level at the age of 25, advanced to Martial Saint level 9 at the age of 40, killed Great Religion Martial Saint Zhao Ji on Martial Saint Mountain at the age of 50, fought Martial Saint Tanzhong Yu in the same year, won both fights against Super Peep Martial Saints. At 60 years old, traveled around various countries, defeated all level 9 fighters in the world, earned the title of the strongest under the blue sky. Martial arts 3,000 years, one of the top 10 outstanding martial saints who made significant contributions to exploring the path of level 10 martial arts. After reading the information for a while, Lu Sheng smiled with satisfaction. This time reaching 300 years of life, this will definitely be a highest lifespan in current history. A super-level martial artist at rank 9 is stronger than martial saint at rank 9, but the path to rank 10 has yet to be fully explored. Considered a pioneer, sooner or later I can truly step into rank 10. Last time, the path to rank 10 opened after 3,000 years. In this life, the path to rank 10 will be opened by Lu Sheng. When the road ahead opens up, whether I obtain the Fire Seed resource in the future will not matter. At that time, countless martial arts geniuses will dare to bravely advance, and the collision of inspiration will create even more brilliant martial arts techniques. His gaze gradually became sharp, and killing that Great Religion Martial Saint is his style. The losses I have suffered will eventually be retrieved. After that, he began to press on the text on the screen, checking privileges, evaluating character history, Fire Seed level 7, Resource Vault limit level 7. Good, this time I can unlock the Grandmaster level 8 martial art. Then he started to call the system. System, check the next martial art, stellar development, natural breathing technique, crystalline observation technique. Lu Sheng is about to thoroughly study all 3 martial arts, yawning repeatedly among the 3 techniques. The high-level technique of stellar development is the Eternal Star Undying technique. The immortal essence must be the blue cultivation technique. So this is the center of the 6th level inheritance to advance to the 7th level. The most important thing is to condense the will of martial arts, merge the essence and energy, then return it to the body for further enhancement. Moreover, advancing from the 7th to the 8th level requires a deeper understanding, not only the will of martial arts, but also a strong body capable of shattering the earth, robust vitality, condensing vitality into elixirs, and turning ordinary people into immortals. The will of martial arts can condense like spears and swords, opening a bridge connecting heaven and earth nature. With the will of martial arts, I temper every inch of my flesh, every action, every hand movement contains the great power of heaven and earth, with destructive force far exceeding the 7th level. This is the biggest difference between the 7th and 8th levels. Zhuang Wu lacks this point. He urges his body to become stronger quickly, but due to certain deficiencies, he cannot be considered a true 8th level master. Lu Sheng analyzed this and then looked back at the cultivation technique he was pondering and exclaimed, "It is the immortal cells. The true inheritance of stellar development is to create immortal cells. Nurturing the body with vitality, one must reach the realm of eternal essence, making one immortal. When all things do not perish, only at this level is one worthy of being 8th level. This is the physical strength I pursue. The main reason I can match an ordinary master is due to the immortal golden body. At the 7th level, my physique can already match that of 8th level Grandmasters like Jiang He, and I am even stronger than Jiang He. The first level of the Eternal Star Undying technique is the alchemist refining the elixir. Once perfected, enormous vitality and willpower will combine to create new cells, which are the immortal cells. Previously, when practicing the stellar development for the immortal golden body, I felt as if my body was a cosmic star, with a single strike carrying the power of the cosmos. This is indeed a grand comparison, just one aspect of martial arts, nothing different from someone comparing a 9th level martial saint to the sky. Could it be that a martial saint could actually exist forever like the sky? But now, the Eternal Star Undying technique has turned this impossible matter into a possibility, transforming myth into reality, proving the eternal essence by itself. If the Divine Illumination King Sutra is meticulous to the extreme, then the immortal cells are immense to an extraordinary degree. If all the cells in the body become immortal, then one can potentially exist alongside heaven and earth, possessing the cosmos, never fading away. Perhaps Wang Ha might not reach that realm. This is a feat even greater than the Divine Illumination King Sutra. Then the question arises, what must one sacrifice to attain this realm? He imagined himself opening his mouth to swallow a cosmic fruit, feeling helpless as swallowing an entire star might not even be enough. Yet he closed his eyes and reassured himself, after all, this is a supreme martial art. Just obtaining one immortal cell could allow his power to surpass the great masters. 2 cells would dominate, while 3 cells would make him unrivaled. After all, in the dreamscape, even if faced with any problems, the impact on reality is minimal. No fear. At this moment, a pill that absorbs spiritual energy appeared in Lu Sheng's hand. But this is what maintains the blood and qi throughout the body. Lu Sheng raised his hand. Should he really smash it? His eyes reveal a look of unwillingness. Never mind. Let's give it a try. Saying this, he slammed the pill against his chest while shouting loudly, "Smash!" Immediately, the pill showed signs of cracking. The surge of power emanating from within it caused Lu Sheng to cough painfully. He felt a sharp pain in his chest, growing more and more agonizing, and then spat out a mouthful of blood. At that moment, a massive shadow unexpectedly appeared behind him from the source of that power. The hand of that shadow grabbed Lu Sheng's head. He closed his eyes, calming himself in that grip, as the power from the fairy pill began to spread powerfully, then merged into one of the cells in Lu Sheng's body. After a while, the process stopped and his whole body emitted a miraculous light. Lu Sheng looked down at his fist, then struck down with all of his strength onto the ground. That punch struck like a bolt of lightning, hitting the entire city, causing the surrounding buildings to sway. Afterward, he exhaled deeply and began to analyze. Too strong. Is this the power of immortal cells? I have only used a small part of the strength in my body, yet it can surpass any blow I've ever dealt before. The force is as strong as the fusion of primal energies, a blood and qi abundant, as if there's a true essence. The strength of the 4 realms of fist techniques is all refined in this one punch by immortal cells. Absolute power and absolute speed harmonize. This punch is called. He looked at his hand and then affirmed, the evil of arrogance. Lu Sheng clenched his fist in the air. Suddenly, his eyes gradually narrowed. Why am I so tired? With no strength at all, I have just managed to condense 1 cell now. Lu Sheng's body fell down weakly. Lying on the ground, he continued to speculate, mainly related to the deficiency in his energy. I need to gather more resources. Fortunately, we are about to depart for the Eastern Military District, where the battlefield is filled with strange creatures. Danger also comes hand in hand with resources. It could be considered as an endless pit to supplement the immortal cells. Having just 1 cell is already this powerful. If I have 10 immortal cells, can I fight against a martial saint? If 10 cells are not enough, then 100 or 1,000 cells. If I reach 1,000 cells, I can just wave my hand and knock a great religion martial saint against the wall. Take it slow. Everything has to be done step by step. That's enough for today. After that, he gradually closed his eyes. Then suddenly he woke up in reality, sitting up and looking at the clock. Surprisingly, I've slept for a full 12 hours. After that, he began to use his sensory abilities, check the surroundings. At this time, the 2 old men outside were still playing chess. Checkmate. It seems that the great religion dojo no longer sends people over. His younger sister is practicing her dance and their mother is in the kitchen cooking. Looking out the window, he thinks, well, the great religion martial saint can't possibly go chasing after a 19-year-old kid just because 2 trivial acquaintances are involved. There has to be some sense of decency after all. After that, he gets out of bed and puts on his slippers. But that crazy woman named Lian Su won't let him go that easily. As he steps down the stairs, he calculates. So he still needs to nip the crisis in the bud and find an opportunity to crush Lian Su. Grabbing a bun from the plate, he says, Ma, I'm going. His mother can only helplessly watch as this kid skips another meal. At this moment, a voice from the TV catches his attention. He's So. He thinks to himself that she is talking to the host of the pharmaceutical program, announcing its release. He munches on the bun while secretly thinking that it's been many days since they last met, and it's just the right time for something he needs to find. A moment later, a voice rings out, "Welcome, honored guest." The receptionist blushes upon seeing the newcomer. "Sir, may I ask if you—" Lu Sheng coldly asks, "Is he So here?" The receptionist silently admires in her heart. "Wow, what a handsome guy." She stutters while pointing, "He's so? CEO he? She's in her office. Let me take you there." At this point, Lu Sheng walks straight past her and says, "No need." Another staff member turns and quietly asks, "Hey, did you just space out?" No, Sister Lai. Who was that handsome guy just now?" The staff member known as Sister Lai replied, "I heard that he is a very handsome distant cousin of CEO he. Other hot boys are far behind him. It is said that not only is he good looking, but he is also a top-level martial arts genius, a national champion in martial arts. I heard he even won the championship at some martial arts tournament recently." The receptionist blushed at this. Is he really that impressive? In her heart, she hoped to have the opportunity to meet him again. He's Su. Inside the laboratory was still studying a vial of blue liquid. Lu Sheng came in and asked, "Is everything ready?" She happily replied, "Yes, everything is ready." Lu Sheng praised her while putting on his shirt. "You are doing great." He So hesitated a bit. "Sister, my mother's side has started again. When can I help you?" Lu Sheng responsively said, "Got it. Wait until I'm done with my business and I'll come help you. Just rest assured." He So observed him from behind, secretly lamenting. It seems like Lu Sheng's aura has become much stronger. It hasn't been long, but is there really someone who can make such remarkable progress in martial arts in just a year? That's truly frightening. Lu Sheng's eyes lit up at this moment. Then let's start. He used his mental energy to control the ingredients and began to mix them together. The ingredients flowed in the same direction, then settled completely inside a glass tube. He exclaims, "Success!" A syrupy solution the color of honey was poured down, which then entered Lu Sheng's mouth. He suddenly opened his eyes wide. This feeling it has actually emerged again. Inside him, another pill appeared. Now he could use the blood stasis pill twice. Surely he was the only one. This material cost several $100 million. If the cells in his body could transform into immortal cells, it would likely not be an exaggerated astronomical figure. Looking at the pile of materials in front of him, Lu Sheng sighed, but he began to ponder. He's Su's business over here could only earn a few $1 billion each year. Then suddenly, he slapped his hand in realization. That's right. I heard from netizens that as long as you go to the battlefield and have strength, money will flow like rain. Done. He quickly left the preparation room. There's no time to waste. Hopefully, the kind netizens won't deceive him. The scene shifted to Baihe Airport, where Lu Sheng was sitting and waiting in a chair while tapping on his phone. The phone beeped with calls. He guessed. It seems that Director Du is very busy, not even bothering to pick up. The plan was to have King Su and Qin Shaojun pick him up, but that has changed. Is it possible that the frontline battlefield has reported danger and they have been mobilized? He glanced around again. Everyone was laughing and walking happily. He thought to himself, the beauty before his eyes was all earned by the soldiers on the front line with their blood, flesh, and lives. If he had the chance to personally participate in protecting this peace, he would feel very honored. Previously, he had learned from a system in a distant place that the front line in the eastern military region had many mineral mines full of gold and silver, which had now been occupied by strange creatures, so they had likely not been exploited yet. To make a lot of money in a short time, he probably could only go mining. After all, it was not like he had never done it before. The image of Lu Sheng wearing a helmet lamp and holding a pickaxe to work the mine appeared. Soon, the plane was landing at the airport. From above, one girl reminded her friend, "Our plane has arrived." The other girl was still excitedly looking down. "Ah, why are there fighter jets too?" The first girl replied, "There must be some mission. Let's go. There's an announcement to board the plane." Stepping outside, she encountered Lu Sheng, who was standing there with a smile, gazing into the distance. The girl couldn't help but sigh to herself. This guy is so handsome. Then she spoke up. "Hello, handsome guy. Are you boarding the plane too? Where are you going?" Lu Sheng smiled back warmly. "I'm not on the same flight as you two." The girl pointed outside and winked, asking, "Huh? This was the flight earlier. You didn't take this flight. Did you get on that fighter jet instead?" The friend next to her raised her hand to cover her mouth and smile. "Ha ha, interesting." Outside, a person was sitting in a fighter jet, waving at them. The two girls thought they were being called and waved back. "Oh, is that person waving goodbye to us?" It turned out Lu Sheng had come down below. The two girls were startled to realize, goodness, the fighter jet actually came here to pick him up. The man had also gotten off the plane and raised his hand, saying, "Hello, let me introduce myself. I'm Qin Huaihu, Deputy of Major General Du Fai Yi from the 1182nd Division of the Eastern Battlefield, Colonel Qin Huaihu." Lu Sheng shook his hand in response. "Hello, Colonel Qin. Is Qin Shaojun a relative?" He replied, "Yes, we are uncle and nephew." Noticing the rank insignia on Qin Huaihu's shoulder, he thought to himself that the colonel's rank was one level higher than Dong King Su and then asked, "Aren't we leaving for the Eastern Military District now? Why haven't they arrived yet?" Qin Huaihu hesitated slightly before replying, "We're not going to the military district." He explained, due to the recent appearance of cracks in the new abyss, the front lines are extremely tense. The leaders have been surveying the battlefield for many days. Our team will quickly arrive at the front lines after picking you up. Lu Sheng calmly asked, "Oh, how long will it take to get there?" Seeing Lu Sheng's calm expression, he was startled. "Aren't you scared?" Lu Sheng replied calmly, "No, I actually want to go to the front lines." Qin Huaihu watched from behind, silently marveling. Is this the confidence of a young master? Then he looked down at his hands, thinking that he had fought on the battlefield for many years, yet he was still only at the level of peak 6 rank and had yet to reach the threshold of a master. He didn't even know if he would ever have the hope of advancing to master in this lifetime, especially since he was already 57 years old. Suddenly, Lu Sheng turned back and said, "By the way, tell me briefly about the situation at the front lines." Qin Huaihu quickly responded, saying that the situation in the Eastern Front had always been very tense, but it had eased somewhat over the past 2 years. However, with the emergence of a new abyss this time, it could very well be classified as a rank, making the situation extremely dire. The entire Eastern Front had been pushed back because of it. Lu Sheng was surprised and asked, "A rank? Are the abyss cracks also graded?" He replied, "Yes, the assessment is based on the scale and intensity of the strange creatures. At the lowest a rank, there would be strange creatures of level 5, so the depths of the abyss are even more unimaginable. The strongest is the SS-ranked abyss. Humanity around the world is exploring, with a total of 9 within range. Fortunately, none of them are located within the territory of Dragon Nation." Lu Sheng continued to ask, "So what does A-level admiration mean?" Qin Huaihu frowned, showing seriousness, and made an example that was easy to understand. Even an 8th-level Grandmaster entering A-level Abyss still faces the risk of danger. After hearing this, Lu Sheng felt a bit confused. Is it really that scary? Then for AA and A-level, and even for a level 5 Abyss, would it be hard for a 9th-level Martial Saint to survive and return? Qin Huaihu replied, "In theory, that is indeed the case, but that's only in theory, as no Grandmaster or Martial Saint would explore the deepest parts of the Abyss. As long as it's not too deep, even an average level 5 or 6 martial artist can survive in an A-level Abyss." After hearing this, he looked at himself with satisfaction. I get it. It's like playing a game. The Abyss crack is like a game dungeon, and the deeper you go, the higher the difficulty. But as long as you don't dream of completing the game, the monsters in the early levels are quite easy to deal with. Qin Huaihu happily added, "In fact, most of the time there's no need to enter the Abyss. Just holding the defensive line at a distance from the Abyss, setting up a defensive perimeter, and waiting to deal with the strange creatures that come out is enough. That's how our front line works. So that's how it is." Lu Sheng clenched his fists and then thought, if I could completely clear the SSS level Abyss, would it be possible to uncover the truth behind the strange creature invasion? Qin Huaihu continued, "When you join the military district, you will probably be promoted to the rank of Brigadier General immediately. At that time, you will definitely have more opportunities to come into contact with ABs. In fact, we guard outside all year round and don't know much about what happens inside ABs. Lu Sheng, feeling a bit confused, asked back, "Do you mean that my development path is different from everyone else's?" At this point, his expression had relaxed quite a bit, and he responded happily, "You are a 7th level Grandmaster, revealing the star of the military department. Revealing the star has its own level and battlefield. 7th level Revealing the Star usually operates in small teams, forming groups to carry out missions. If you have outstanding military talent, you could even follow the path to command a corps. Recently, several SS-level ABs have repeatedly exhibited strange creature disturbances, and it is speculated that they are evolving towards SS level. Who knows, by that time, you might have the opportunity to make contact." Lu Sheng, after hearing this, whispered in worry, "SSS. That goal seems too distant and unrealistic for me at this stage." Suddenly, a startled voice broke in, "Not good." The pilot quickly announced, "Leader Du's defense line has encountered a level 7 strange creature. They are requesting assistance. Lu Sheng was shocked and exclaimed, "What? Level 7. He then turned to Qin Huaihu and asked, "Is Leader Du nearby?" Qin Huaihu replied, "If close, we can get there in 3 minutes." He was astonished when he suddenly realized, "Wait, do you want?" At that moment, the door slowly opened. Lu Sheng replied, "That's right. It might be a bit high. Just get me a pair of shoes. It must be the best quality ones." At this time, a dimly lit, eerie space appeared from below the floor. Qin Huaihu was extremely panicked. Returning to the forward battle zone half an hour ago, a crowd of strange creatures was surging in, cutting through with slashes. Yu Feiyu was chopping down strange creatures with his sword while telling himself, "This must be the last one." The soldiers nearby cheered. "Major General," someone approached with water for you and said, "You've worked hard, Major General. Please have a drink." He took the water bottle. "Thank you." Then he tilted his head back and drank heartily. "All right, has our reinforcements arrived? Has the revealing the star team added members yet? If not, we cannot manage without higher combat power." The soldier replied, a bit confused. The military said to hold on a bit longer. At most, within 2 days, the revealing the star team will arrive for reinforcements. Yu Feiyu was genuinely angry at this point, throwing the water bottle to the ground and shouting, "Damn it, 2 days, and now we only have 5th and 6th level strange creatures appearing. The front line made up of mid and low level martial artists can barely defend. If a 7th or even 8th level one shows up, we absolutely won't be able to hold on." Unexpectedly, a pair of skates slid across the ground, creating sparks. That was Qin Shaojun. He was extremely excited to attack those monsters. Another person was controlling a strange creature with outstretched hands. That was Dong Qingsu. She made many cuts that severed the strange creature. Once done, both of them landed on the ground to the joy of the soldiers. Then they approached Yu Feiyi and called out, "Leader." At that moment, he was no longer angry and joyfully opened his arms, saying, "Ha ha ha ha. Thanks to both of you these past few days, if it were just me, I wouldn't have lasted this long." The soldiers were talking among themselves, noticing that these two, just over 40 years old, had already reached peak level 6. Who knows, our division might even be able to train 2 7th level, revealing the Star Masters, and then it would be much safer. As Qin Shaojun received praise, he looked up at the sky and laughed heartily. It's okay. After all, it was the leader who handled the level 6 strange creatures. We only dealt with the small fries. Dong Qingsu then said, "Just now I heard that if this continues for 2 more days, we might be able to hold on. After all, the first wave has already ended." Du Feiyi replied, "That's right, the new wave should wait until tomorrow." Suddenly, the 2 young people sensed something was wrong. What's happening? The whole place is starting to shake, and the ground is beginning to crack. Du Feiyi anxiously turned around. "Not good. This earthquake is Abies." He exclaimed in horror as a crack appeared on the ground as if something was about to rise up. Then the spot cracked open into a hole, from which a long, writhing body like a centipede emerged. Next, a massive foot stomped down, crushing the ground. A whole group of strange creatures then crawled out of that hole, looking extremely terrifying. There were 3 level 7 strange creatures. At this time, Qin Shaojun was gritting his teeth in great anxiety. "Dan, is this real or fake? How can we survive like this?" Dong Qingsu's face also lost its usual calmness, replaced by panic. "This is bad. The morale boost we just had has now been completely extinguished." Yu Feiyi gritted his teeth and shouted, "If there was only one, I could coordinate with the lieutenants to gradually take it down, but a level 7 strange creature will self-detonate before it dies, causing massive damage every time, and now there are 3. Faced with the 3 massive strange creatures, Yu Feiyi felt a bit despondent. Am I really going to die here? Then he sighed, gripped his sword tightly, and shouted, "Brothers, stop overthinking it. Provide cover fire for me. If you want to live, hit hard, spare no effort, attack. All martial artists of level 6 and above prepare. When I lead the charge, everyone present responds in unison, ready." The 2, Dong Qingsu and Qin Shaojun, stand behind to support him. Du Feiyi firmly grips his sword, targeting the 3 level 7 strange creatures, then launches attacks towards them. Qin Shaojun raises his hand to cover his face as blood splatters. "Damn, if I had known there were 3 level 7s, I wouldn't have fought so fiercely earlier." Meanwhile, Dong Qingsu remains silent. Shaojun quickly notices and is astonished. Qin Shaojun approaches and asks, "Oh, why are your eyes so red? Do you have red eye?" At this moment, her eyes are red and her face shows signs of fatigue as she throws a remark at him. "Get lost. It's just that my mental energy has been drained a bit too much. Aren't you covered in wounds too?" Qin Shaojun wipes the blood from his mouth and replies, "Just joking. Don't take it seriously." By the way, that kid Lu Sheng will be arriving in a few days. What do you think will happen when he comes to the base looking for us? What if he finds 2 corpses? Will he freeze in shock? Dong King-su reminds him, you should talk less. It will give you a better chance of surviving a little longer. Qin and Xiao-jun quickly perks up. All right, I'll keep my mouth shut then. After all, I still don't want to die. His eyes show an excited expression. At this moment, Yu Fei loudly reminds, everyone prepare, charge forward. As he speaks, he raises his sword, and the others follow suit, displaying their determination. Surprisingly, a powerful light shone down from the sky. Everyone was bewildered, asking, what is that? Dong King-su was equally amazed, saying, that is a human. The image of Lu Sheng descending like a rocket appeared before everyone's eyes. Dong King-su suddenly blushed and exclaimed, could it be him? She then panicked, realizing that the location he was falling into was where 3 level 7 strange creatures were. It was dangerous. Besides her, no one else recognized Lu Sheng, so Qin Xiao-jun laughed and asked, oh, do you know that person? Who is he? The light from Lu Sheng's speed struck the insect directly. He flashed a devilish smile and then swiftly split the long insect's head in half, causing the ground to shake violently. The group of Du Fei was taken aback. What? The lone worm being decapitated is now curled up in a pile, showing no signs of life. Then those familiar footsteps landed on the ground. Lu Sheng radiated a powerful aura as he remarked, the quality of the military boots is indeed impressive. The dust gradually settled. The strange creature monkey, with its bloodshot eyes, looked down and saw its companion dead. Lu Sheng stood there proudly, saying, hey, it's your turn now. The bloodshot eyes of the monkey glimmered with a spark. Then it angrily swung a fist down at the small Lu Sheng below. The fist was then slammed down by the chimpanzee. Dirt and rocks were sent flying into the air by the powerful impact. Suddenly, at that moment, Lu Sheng gently blocked its gigantic fist with just one hand. I've seen this act once before. After that, Lu Sheng kicked it, sending it rolling through the air in confusion. Lu Sheng, with eyes glinting with a cold light, attacked it once again and shouted, take a kick from me. This kick was so powerful that it knocked the chimpanzee's head clean off. The head remained dazed, letting out a perplexed, ah, what? Du Fei exclaimed in shock. Oh my, are you kidding me? His expression was one of disbelief at the scene before him. Qin and Xiao-jun, looking dumbfounded, gasped with wide eyes. Wow, I can't believe Lu Sheng is putting on such a show. Dong King-su, after regaining her composure, smiled and said, Lu Sheng has become stronger. Having dealt with the chimpanzee, Lu Sheng calmly turned around and said to the last one, it's your turn. This was a giant mantis strange creature. It let out hissing sounds, its expression a mix of confusion and panic. Then it quickly jumped away, seemingly scared and trying to flee. It headed toward the hole it had just jumped from. The mantis was now happily preparing to jump down. But how could he escape the powerful hand of Lu Sheng? He rested his head on his arm and immediately released a surge of energy that seemed to incinerate the mantis. It twisted in pain. Its entire body felt as if it were being tightly squeezed by that power before exploding in the sky. Thus, 3 A-level strange creatures were dealt with. He smiled and jumped up again. Above the recent pit were strange creatures that appeared to be of a lower level. Lu Sheng flashed a cold smile and said, those who come here are guests. You don't need to go back. With that, he dove down and unleashed massive punches. Those punches landed heavily on the smaller strange creatures. They were immediately engulfed in the fiery force in the air, and after a fierce battle, a huge cloud of dust was created, along with broken pieces of the strange creatures. Lu Sheng returned and landed before Du Fei. He raised 2 fingers in a salute. New recruit Lu Sheng specially reports to the commander. His entire body radiated an aura that no one could ignore. The 3 people there stared at him in bewilderment. Du Fei had to remind himself, new recruit. Then all 3 burst into hearty laughter, unable to contain themselves, exclaiming, ha ha ha, well done, what a commendable new recruit. Scene shifts to the night sky at the Eastern Military District base, where the lights in the camp were turned on, bright as day, and even the cars were running. Inside, a cup of hot water was served. Today, I really owe it to you. Qin Xiao-jun handed the cup of water to Lu Sheng and said, if it weren't for the level 7 strange creature invasion, we would have been doomed, and the defensive line would have likely collapsed. Lu Sheng then asked, Training Officer Qin, do you really admire the level of danger this much? Level 7 strange creatures appear at the Abyss Gate. Dong King-su calmly explained further, this Abyss is not just level A, it's at least triple A, otherwise it wouldn't be so costly. Typically, a newly emerged Abyss goes through an outbreak phase, and once it passes that phase, it stabilizes. At that moment, Yu Feiyi also lifted the curtain and came in, happily saying, I heard before that you killed 2 grandmasters. I was a bit skeptical. Now I'm completely convinced you are fully capable of breaking into the Board of Martial Artists. I predict you'll rank in the top 50. Board of Martial Artists, he asked in confusion. Is it similar to the former student board in the Martial Arts Academy? He replied, it's quite similar, but the Board of Martial Artists evaluates not only strength, but also contributions and merits. The strange creatures you killed today will be tallied up, and you can exchange them for contribution points, which can be traded for military resources benefiting your future training. Lu Sheng smiled and replied, thank you, Major General. Du Feiyi raised his hand to greet, saying, all right, I won't disturb everyone any longer. We will talk more in detail later. You've just arrived at the military district, so take some time to rest. Don't think the battle is over. Anytime recently, a larger storm of strange creatures could break out. Since you're here, please take over my duties. It seems that Leader Du is indeed tired. Imagining how exhausting the fighting has been to tire a 7th level master like him is quite something. Lu Sheng watched the aging figure of the man and thought to himself, I have immortal cells with me, along with natural breathing techniques, staunch spirit, and almost limitless stamina, so I don't feel tired. But I'm a bit hungry. At that moment, his stomach was grumbling continuously. Qin Shaojun keenly approached and patted his shoulder, saying, come on, you're known for being a foodie. Today, we will treat you well. A little later, outside the brightly lit tents, Lu Sheng was sneering at a pile of ready-to-eat meals. Is this really the good treatment you've all mentioned? Qin Shaojun sighed in response, we have no choice. What else can you pick from the front lines? Just eat this for now. After this outbreak of strange creatures is over, we will go back to the military district for a nice meal. Meanwhile, Dong Qingsu quietly grabbed some food while glancing at him. Lu Sheng noticed her gaze and looked back, and their eyes met, sparking a connection. Suddenly, Dong Qingsu blushed and said nothing. Lu Sheng also fell silent and turned red. The brothers know what this phenomenon is. Lu Sheng became even more panicked when he remembered the announcement board with the content about his future partner along with Dong Qingsu's image appearing. After that, unable to take it anymore, he flipped his legs and ran outside. I'm full, I'm leaving now. Qin Shaojun could only look on in confusion. Shaojun then looked down at Dong Qingsu with a puzzled expression and asked, what's wrong with you? Earlier, I heard there was a master seeking revenge against Lu Sheng, and you were so worried that you wanted to find him immediately. Now that he's right in front of you, you didn't say a word. You are really strange. She calmly replied, it's my personal matter. Suddenly, Qin and Shaojun clapped his hands in excitement. Oh, I see. Dong Qingsu, could it be that you really like? Before he could finish his sentence, Dong Qingsu threw a plate of food at his face, and then screams echoed from the tent, hey, don't go. Lu Sheng outside looked up at the dark sky, reflecting on today's battle, feeling blood boiling uncontrollably. I probably won't be able to sleep tonight. The battlefield is under the responsibility of the 1,182nd Division. It seems light now because almost everyone was killed during the day. In the distance, the sounds of firecrackers and relentless fighting echoed, no less intense than during the day. He began to activate his perception. His mental energy enveloped the surrounding area. Then he moved toward the desolate forest. Maybe I should go check that out. In another nearby location, strange creatures were still appearing and attacking. Everyone is trying to fight against them. The soldiers hiding behind the sandbags are worried. Damn it, why are there so many? One injured soldier being bandaged speaks up. It's the transformed Abies. This has never happened before. When will the reinforcements arrive? The soldier doing the bandaging adds, in this situation, they probably can't do anything either. Perhaps. Suddenly, a voice appears along with an axe. All right, we anticipated this outcome when we came to the battlefield. A strong woman with fiery red hair speaks up confidently. What's there to be sad about? At worst, this will happen again in 18 years. The soldiers respond in unison. Yes, sir. In their hearts, they silently vow. That's right, even the revealing the Star Grandmaster is here. We cannot give up. Suddenly, a huge explosion from the ground sends the nearby soldiers flying. The female leader turns back in panic. What? It is a level 7 two-headed leopard. One head drooling grotesquely as it lunges forward. The female leader transitions from panic to excitement. Ha ha, let's go for it. Then she leaps up, swinging the axe down, just missing a bit of alcohol for a snack. Suddenly, its eye turned upwards. The female leader was then chopping with the axe, closing in on the two-headed leopard. Moving closer, she swung the axe up and then brought it down while shouting, is it resolved yet? One of its heads was now severed from its body. The female leader was also attacked. The leopard struck her and she was injured. She knelt down, coughing up blood. Cough, cough. The female leader remained there, kneeling and coughing. Cough, 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 cough. Strange creature is so strong. But at that moment, another foot of a strange creature appeared. It emerged from behind her. The female leader was completely stunned, not expecting there to be both a male and a female. Truly a disaster. The head of the leopard that was severed earlier had also started to reattach, healing. Trash. At this point, the female leader could only kneel helplessly before the claws of the two-headed strange creatures. Her eyes showed fatigue, preparing to close. The soldiers screamed in horror, "Leader." Suddenly, she seemed to sense some power gradually emerging and glanced over. It was our Lu Sheng. He always appeared at the most opportune times. Lu Sheng had drawn his weapon, leaping to stab the two leopards that were pouncing on the female leader in her panic. It was revealed to be a spear. It was so dangerous. He almost arrived too late. Lu Sheng spoke as he landed. At this moment, the female leader was extremely joyful. The leopard that was struck lay flattened on the ground. Suddenly, its tail unexpectedly opened up into 3 claws. The 3 claws lunged forward, ready to attack Lu Sheng. The female leader shouted in panic, "Be careful of its tail." But Lu Sheng kicked it hard on the head. His eyes brightened and his expression turned cold as he threatened the leopard. "Quiet down." At that moment, the leopard was scared and sweating profusely. The tail that was about to attack him stopped. Lu Sheng smiled friendly and patted its head. The meat of the level 7 strange creature was quite delicious. It would be a shame to destroy it. He had already made it fall apart last time, and now he prepared to snap his fingers. Then he snapped his fingers gently while using the psychic energy from the ice to make the space tremble, causing the leopard to sway up and down like a neural wave. The female leader looked confused and bewildered. What? Lu Sheng approached closer, grabbed its tail, and somehow stretched it out long like a rope and tied the leopard up tightly. Finally, he even tied a cute bow and cheerfully exclaimed, "The big task is done." Next, Lu Sheng stood up, leaning his spear against the ground, facing the strange creatures in front of him. "I will take care of these minions." His eyes began to shine like hellish Ezra's. He swept the spear in a line, instantly causing all those small strange creatures to be cut in half. The female leader gasped at this sight. Oh shit, where on earth did this person come from? From the base to the abyss, and then through the SS level abyss. He waved the flag all the way. Wherever Lu Sheng went, he swept through strange creatures, making everyone panic as they saw him. Next, Lu Sheng, on his patrol route, casually helped various defensive lines. Sometimes he even rode on horned strange creatures, looking incredibly excited, causing people to panic. Who is that? Is he insane? After finishing, he landed, carrying the spear on his shoulder, and declared boldly, "Okay, I've gone all the way around the surrounding area of the abyss." Later, in a command tent at the outpost, there was a tent still lit. Hu Faiyu was inside, drinking water while on the phone. After hearing the information from the other end, he spat out the water and exclaimed, "What did you say?" "Lu Sheng." At that moment, a hand pulled back the curtain. Lu Sheng entered, his clothes somewhat tattered at the bottom, but his face still full of vitality, calling out, "Leader Do." The cup fell to the floor. Hu Faiyu was utterly stunned and asked, "What? How many strange creatures have you killed out there all day?" Lu Sheng gulped down water and replied, 12, 18, I forgot. Anyway, there were plenty of level 7 ones. I didn't count the level 6 ones. Unfortunately, I couldn't bring their bodies back, so I might as well give them away. Finish, he calmly said. Anyway, I have completed a full round. Bringing back the corpses of all the level 7 strange creatures would be quite a hassle. Compared to the young lives lost on the battlefield, I can't really do much. I can only give it my all. Hu Faiyi felt speechless as he reminded himself, "Just give it your all." However, his expression immediately brightened as he said, "It's okay. There are black boxes recording on every front line. When we return, we'll tally the achievements. They will account for all the merits you have earned, leaving no merit unrecognized." Lu Sheng was very excited after hearing this. "That's great. Seems like it won't be in vain." Then he seriously said, "But the kid you are supporting is just that. However, you are ultimately a part of the 1182nd Division, and you must take care of the other side first." Lu Sheng calmly replied, "Don't worry, Major General Du. I promise I will head out after eliminating all the strange creatures here, and if you are still worried, you can give me a communication device. If anything happens, just shout, and I will return immediately." After hearing this, he coughed to ease the awkwardness and said, "All right." He felt nothing but joy. Initially, he had ordered the continuous increase in the amount of exotic marrow, and it truly was the wisest decision of his life. Who would have thought it would nurture such a mighty divine dragon? It's also a part of my creation. Ha ha. Later, at a meeting, someone remarked, "Sir, the violence from crack number 2 is quite serious." As of today, the ordinary casualties amount to 15,200 people. Furthermore, the casualties among officer-level soldiers have reached 320, with 8 people from revealing the star level 7 killed and 1 person from revealing the star level 8. Hearing this, the leader was taken aback and asked, "What? Revealing the star level 8 has also died. Who is it?" The person replied, "It is Devazon Zhang Yi, ranked 28th on the revealing the star ranking list." Upon hearing this, the leader sadly said, "The funeral will be organized according to the protocol of a senior general. Please inform me of the specific time and I will attend." Then he sighed deeply. "The army only has 30 grandmasters, and now we are down 1. After that, he continued, "On a different note, what is the situation in the abyss like now?" Everyone there fell into silence and only began to report after a while. "Sir, the current situation does not look very optimistic. There are many strange creatures at the abyss. If we do not reinforce our support, the entire army may soon be annihilated." A gloomy image of the space appeared. In the military zone at that moment, the marshal was studying a map. He pointed at a location on the map and asked, "How many troops can we mobilize now?" A brief introduction. The marshal of the battle zone is the highest commander, and this person's name is Shi Hongfei. The officer next to him replied, "Very little. I will issue the order immediately. At the earliest, it will be tomorrow before we can arrive." He then pointed to the map and continued, "Then we will block at the most critical gap. Prioritize reinforcements to point A." The officer was unwilling to accept and shouted, "Marshal, point B is equally important." Marshal Shi Hongfei gritted his teeth helplessly and said, "I know, but the area behind point B is quite far from the residential area, and there is a vast area in between. Even if the defensive line collapses, it will be gradually restored. Point A is different. Once it is breached, within half a month, the strange creature could invade the nearest neighboring city. Protecting the homeland is the top priority." The officers were then in heated discussion with each other. After a while, he continued, "If there are no more issues, then let's proceed with this plan. Which division will defend point A?" The officer raised his hand in a salute and shouted loudly, "Division 1058, Division Commander Major General Sun Ji. Inform Sun Ji that even if it comes to fighting with only 1 soldier left, he must hold that defensive line well." Marshal Shi Hongfei firmly ordered that those in other positions could defend flexibly, and when necessary, they must leave their current positions to reinforce point A. "Dismissed!" A simultaneous shout rang out, "Yes, sir."